Good morning, everyone. We all know that in the medical profession there is a symbol called a caduceus, which is the snake wrapped around the pole. And the origin of this symbol of healing is this week's Torah portion. Torah tells us the story of the Jewish people who are complaining about their food, their diet in the desert once again. And God sends fiery serpents to attack the Jewish people. And then they cry out to Moses. And God tells Moses, take a snake, wrap it around a pole, place it high in the air, and let the Jewish people look up at the snake on the pole, and they will be healed and cured. And that's what happens. And until this very day, the snake wrapped around the pole is the symbol of healing in the medical profession. But the question is, what's the meaning behind the snake around the pole? And one of the explanations is that the Torah is telling us that when we get bitten in life, when we are attacked, when we experience a challenge, we could either look at it from a lowly perspective, or we could raise our eyes towards heaven and see it from a deeper and a higher and a more insightful perspective, and understand the true meaning behind the challenge, to know how to cure and heal from it. And so too in every situation in life, sometimes the successes come from the failures. Sometimes the solutions come from the problem. Sometimes the answers in life come from the question. Sometimes the love and the happiness comes from the pain and the sadness. And so we have to look at the snake, not flee from the snake, but look at it with courage and with faith, and examine it and understand how there is an opportunity within the crisis. Yesterday there were multiple shootings throughout the country on July 4th, the day of our country's independence. And tragically, at a parade in Highland Park, Chicago, 6 people were killed. 2 of them were actually Jews. It's a very Jewish community. And you ask yourself, July 4th, the day that we celebrate our nationhood, all of this violence in our country. And Highland Park is a community I know because a few years ago I was invited to speak there at the Chabad. And Rabbi Scheiner, I called him immediately. He had just come back from the hospital visiting many of the victims. And as he went through the hospital, he recited to himself quietly the Shema as a clergy member, praying for everybody to recover. And one of the women who was there with her children was an Israeli visiting Chicago. And she took her children to the parade. And this woman, her name is Devorah, she was interviewed by the Jerusalem Post. And she said she's here on a visit in Highland Park. She took her kids to the parade, and she lives on a border town near Gaza called Zikim. And she said as she's going through the parade, they heard shots. And her kids said, Mommy, is there shooting? And she said to her kids, no, this is America. It can't be. It must be something else. Till they saw people bleeding on the ground, and they ran for cover behind a car, hid there, and then were taken into a store until the police allowed them to go out. And she said, I was more frightened in Highland Park than living near the Gaza Strip. She said, because at the Gaza Strip, we know where the enemies are. We know where the rockets are coming from. Here, you don't know where it's going to come from. And there we have the IDF to protect us. We also have the Iron Dome to give us a warning to find shelter. She said, I can't believe I'm in America, and this happened to me here in the United States, not on the Gaza Strip. And so what do we have to do as a nation? Yes, we have to address gun violence. Yes, we have to address mental health issues. And we have to do it with courage and fearlessness and honesty, not through political and partisan eyes. But like the story of the snake, we have to look up. We have to ask ourselves, what are the spiritual underpinnings? There is a deficiency in this country. There is a deficiency of purpose in our country. There's a void and an emptiness in the lives of many of the youth. There is a deficiency of spirituality. There's a deficiency of purpose in life. And this vacuum is being filled with all sorts of evils, including gun violence. And therefore, we have to look at the bite of the snake, not just from its lowly, mundane, physical perspective. While that needs to be addressed, we also have to look up to heaven and say, have we lost our way? Maybe it's time to re-examine and learn from this experience once and for all that we need to infuse our children's life with spirituality. Yes, just like when you go to the doctor and he says you have a deficiency of vitamin D or vitamin A, you need a supplement. We have a collective deficiency of vitamin S, spirituality. And spirituality means raising a child to understand that we're put here in this world to be the best version of ourselves. Spirituality is trying to be better each and every day of our lives. Animals cannot sit and think, how can I be a better cow or a better animal? Human beings have the capacity to reach their potential. That's what spirituality is. Knowing that we're in the image of God. God loves us. God put us here for a purpose. The fact that we were created means that the world cannot go on without us. God wanted us here. Beginning every day with gratitude, with a prayer of Modani, giving thanks that God created us and trusts in us. This is what we are lacking. So let us take this moment, each and every one of us. Start with your children, with your grandchildren. Make time to teach your children Torah, their meaning, their purpose, their direction, and their relationship with God. And bit by bit, we can learn from this tragedy how we have strayed from our mandate as a nation to be one nation under God as human beings created in the divine image. Let us hope and pray for a peaceful day.